Daniel keeps throwing more stress at Amber, and now Amber is even wondering if he even loves her, or does he just see her as a sugar mama? Hey my beautiful peeps, my name is Char and welcome to Char TV. I'll be recapping episode 3 of Love in Paradise the Caribbean. It's called Meet the Family. I'll be starting with Aryanna and Sherlon. Despite the uncomfortable chat in regards to Sherlon's night job, Aryanna is still having a good time on her vacation. After being alone for the first 6 months of her pregnancy, it's really nice to be around Sherlon.
Her fit was like super big. Now, I've never seen nothing like this. I was so surprised. Knowing about her pregnancy, like seeing it firsthand is like different from hearing about it. I really feel bad that I wasn't there for the past 6 months to take care of her. Do you want me to rub that on you?
Maybe my back. Don't do it like all sexually.
Karen decides to pull up a chair and have a little chat with Sherlon, which he is open to doing. After all, the purpose of this trip is to get to know each other. She asks him if he has plans on being present for the birth, and he said unfortunately he cannot be there because the embassy is closed and he needs a visa in order to go to the US. And because the embassy is closed, it's kind of impossible to get a visitor's visa. He's hoping that he can at least, witness the birth through live stream, even though it's not the same. She then says to him, well, have you and Aryanna at least looked into the K1 visa? He says they really haven't looked into the K1 process because of her hormones, so certain topics they just avoid speaking about because they're like hot topics. Karen reminds him, well, at some point you're gonna have to talk about it.
Aryanna, but we only spent 17 days together. We need to give this relationship time. We need to be realistic.
So, I feel like I'm kind of skirting around some of the questions that I'm asking you. And I just, for me as a parent, I just need to know more about your plans for the future, what you're going to do, because I've seen a lot of people that have kids and then they don't follow through.
She feels like what he's saying, it's just words. She needs to see more actions. And she knows it's their relationship, but at the same time, if she might potentially be taking the role, then she needs to have answers. And she has the right to know what's going on. He assures her that, they will have those types of discussions, but ultimately, it's up to them as to what goes on.
All right, well, I guess those have to work for me for now, huh?
For now, Miss Karen. For now.
But I'm not one to let things lie.
No worries, Miss Karen, man. This is Jamaica. We say no problem, man.
I see.
Aryanna wants to know what her mother and Sherlon discussed. Karen feels that Sherlon's answer was, a little bit wishy-washy when she mentioned getting married within the 90 days. And at the same time, Aryanna doesn't want to force him because then he's just gonna be miserable in America. Karen says it seems like she's more worried about his feelings and not her own. I mean, is he in it for the long haul?
The only thing that he answered me that was not a wishy-washy thing was when he was talking to me about being a father. He did seem like he always wanted to be there.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it's like, you can claim you always want to be there, but if you're not physically there...
Exactly.
If you want to be a dad, you should do the right thing. But...
Now, when you're with him, do you feel like you get the vibes he wants to be with you? Or?
Yeah.
Ariana is wanting him to say more of the right things so that it'll be more of like a done deal, because right now he's not really making a good impression in front of her mother. It seems like he's questioning his feelings towards her. Karen said that perhaps it will be good for them to spend some one-on-one time with each other. And Ariana said, you know, well, maybe they should speak to an immigration lawyer because all of this process is quite overwhelming and they don't really know much about it. Ariana does not want to be, you know, the typical baby mother on her own. And I hope for her sake she's not. It will be interesting to see what happens. That's pretty much all with that couple. On to Mark and Kay. It's the first full day that Mark and Kay are spending with each other, and Mark is having a bit of a hard time getting up in the morning after their steamy night session. So they're off to go on a jet ski.
Kay is the only person I'll ride shotgun on a jet ski with. She's gorgeous, and I get to sit behind her and squeeze her for an hour-long jet ski. That's it's a good way to start a trip.
Thank you.
After riding the jet ski, they go and sit on the beach, and Mark says it's crazy being back. And Kay said, yeah, you know, we're both different now. But things do feel natural. Kay says that he's the sweetest man that she's ever had in her life, and he makes a really good partner. Mark is excited to spend time with her, but he wants to talk more about the future. But Kay doesn't want to talk about the future right now. And Mark says, well, we're gonna need to talk about it. And she's like, right now, on the first day?
I want you to know I want to have these conversations.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you think in the future all the time. No, really.
I mean,
Today we need to live the present.
yeah.
We don't need to think in the future.
Mark says to her, why don't you like to think about the future? Kay said one moment in her life she was thinking about the future, and one day she died and her life changed. The drugs were her best friend for a long time. She started using drugs at the age of 19. She remembers everything vividly. After a party that she went to, her friends offered her ketamine. She couldn't believe how it made her feel. She couldn't do anything without taking ketamine. She now has a second chance at life, and she doesn't want to waste it.
I don't know if tomorrow I will be here, so I'm not worried about the future, only try to live the moment. So for that, I don't like thinking in the future.
Okay.
For that.
Mark says that he was there for Kay at her worst moments, and he still wants to be there for her. He's going to have to be a little bit more cautious when bringing up the future with Kay. Kay says she loves him, but doesn't want to be rushed. Today they're off to Aqua Lounge, which is where they first met, and Mark sees one of his friends.
I haven't seen Mark in 10 years. I really miss the guy. It's a shocker to see Mark and Kay back together. I did not see that one coming, but it's great.
It's weird being back in Aqua.
Yeah, this place has changed a lot since you left. So what's going on with you in California, man? This has been, so many years. I thought you were only leaving for a few weeks.
Well, that
Feels like a few weeks ago.
That was the plan.
The friend says to Mark, well, how are things going between you and Kay? And Mark says, well, it's really hard because they're in two separate countries. And they have an agreement, which is don't ask, don't tell. So they don't ask one another if they're seeing other people, sleeping with other people. They just don't want to know. Mark doesn't even want to think about it because he doesn't want to mess things up. But if they have a future together, then there's none of this open relationship business. Kay was actually married before, but got divorced a year later. Mark doesn't know too much about what happened, but at some point he's going to want to know the details, especially if he wants her to move to be with him and to get married. That's pretty much all between Mark and Kay. Nothing much happened. On to Amber and Daniel. Amber and Daniel are going to have dinner with Daniel's brother, David. Even though she's really pissed off at him for quitting his job and not completing the paperwork, she doesn't want to ruin the trip. David is happy to see Amber after not seeing her for 12 months.
Even when my brother doesn't speak English, they find a way to communicate each other. She never tried to learn Spanish.
So I'm too busy putting together a K1 visa, and I'm too busy working.
I study English for myself. Computer.
You weren't working. It's just so weird to be back. And this is not a trip where it's pleasure,
I know.
I'm here to handle business.
Sí, sí.
David and Daniel are very close and they live together. David is not emotionally ready because his brother won't be there to support him anymore if he moves to America. He is happy that his brother would be moving to America, but is worried at the same time because he's going to be by himself. And they've never been apart. Amber does understand because she wouldn't want him to do that with her sisters. Then Daniel says,
I was thinking too to bring David and bring my mom to America, of course. Because I want them to live close to me. That's what I want.
Okay. You have never mentioned this yet. I feel really blindsided by this.
Amber can't even imagine how this is going to happen because she's already struggling with Daniel and the paperwork. She can't even imagine bringing 2 more people into the mix. Who is going to complete the paperwork? Daniel can't even complete it for himself. Amber is really upset because this is supposed to be their moment. But at the same time, Daniel is saying, well, in America, I'm only going to have your family. I'm not going to have anybody. So I'd like to have my mother and brother there. Plus, he feels that they would have a better life. Now, since David doesn't really understand what's being said, Daniel decides to translate. And David has some thoughts.
Cuando mi hermano tenga los planes de llevarme a mí y a mi mamá a Estados Unidos. Pienso que tal vez Amber sí me podría ayudar porque desde que ella comenzó con mi hermano sería lo mejor para nosotros.
I just think it's fucking bullshit. It's our visa
It's not
process.
bullshit because it's my family.
It's our, right, but it's our visa process and what we're going through. And I just want to add another layer to it.
Daniel keeps throwing more stress at Amber. And now Amber is even wondering if he even loves her. Or does he just see her as a sugar mama? You know, to take care of him and his family. Well, Amber, I think you just answered your own question. That's it with Amber and Daniel. Again, I'm seeing red flags. How about you? On to Stephen and Martine. Today, Stephen and Martine are taking Sarai, his daughter, to see some monkeys. Martine and Sarai get along really well, and Stephen has never brought his daughter around any other woman. He just loves how the both of them get along, and he's hoping that bringing Sarai around Martine will have her realize that he's serious about the relationship.
Thanks. Oh, hey guys, hey. I'd like to see him standing.
See, I'm gonna catch you here.
Every time when I get to see Martine, I have the best day ever. I like Martine because she is cool.
You having fun?
Yes.
Remember how? I'm so happy to see you. So you want to maybe like come visit me?
Stephen is feeling pressured because it's like Martine has put a bug in Sarai's ear. She knows that Sarai likes her and that Sarai would love the idea of her father and Martine living together and getting married. Stephen says that it really annoys him that she's getting his daughter involved. To be quite honest, I don't think that's the right thing to do, but here they are. Martine then says to him, have you ever thought about having more children? And he says, well, no, not really. Definitely not right now, maybe later on. Martine has always had a timeline, you know, to go to school, get a job, move out, move in with her boyfriend, get engaged, get married, and then have children, and all this to be done by the age of 30. Stephen has never discussed having kids together.
I just want to make sure that like we're on the same page. I want to know what our future could have in store. Like I don't want to be like, I want to be with you and then we end up together and then you're like, yeah, I don't want any more kids. And I don't have any kids, so that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? I would want us both to be on the same page about that.
I'm starting to think Martine came to Barbados with a checklist of life's biggest questions, and she wants to check off one item each day.
Again, Martine decides to involve Sarai and ask her, would you like a little brother or sister? Of course the little girl's gonna say yes. Stephen is like, I'll think about that, but his face says otherwise. Today, Steven and Martine are going to explore a deep sea cave. She's really excited because usually all they do is party and drink. They never really do anything adventurous. So now she's getting to explore the island, which is a good thing because she may end up living there one day. Martine says to Steven, I'm going to have to return my mom's call because I missed it, and most likely she's going to want to see him. And the father is probably going to be there too.
Okay, so this is like the introduction. Is what you're trying to say to me?
Even though Steven and I have been together for 3 years, he still hasn't met my parents. My parents are from Haiti. They moved to America in their 20s. They just wanted to live somewhere that was safer, and they wanted to raise their kids in a place with more opportunities.
Martine is always feeling pressured to be perfect. She doesn't want to disappoint her parents. Her parents worked hard to, provide them with everything that they wanted. She's stalled a little bit with introducing Steven to her parents because she knows that he's not really the ideal man that they'd want her to be with. Plus, she hasn't been sure on where the relationship is going. She doesn't want them to be disappointed. They arrive at the caves, and here she goes again. She went and said to the guide, has anybody ever taken wedding pictures here? And the guide said, yes, well, we've actually had weddings here as well, which of course she thinks is a good idea. She's hoping to get a proposal by the end of her trip. So she's going to have to tell her parents about Steven. Later on, she's on a video chat with her parents and they are dressed in like business attire. This is serious here. It's not a conversation anymore. At this point, it's an interview and Steven is about to be grilled. She fills them in of what they've been doing and then they ask, where is Steven?
So this is Steven. This is my dad.
Hi, nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about
this
you.
Is Steven. And my mom.
Hi. Martine hasn't introduced me to her parents as yet, and I always ask her why, but she may be a little, I cannot say ashamed, but she doesn't know if her father's going to approve of me or not. So I'm a little concerned about that.
The father says to Steven, so what is it that you do? Steven says, well, I DJ and host parties. The parents don't look that impressed. The dad doesn't feel that DJing is something that should be done on a professional level. He feels, if anything, that's something that's done at night. So he says to him, well, what do you do during the day? Steven's like, well, I practice my craft to make sure that I'm good to play. I go to the gym. That type of stuff. Mama says, well, you must meet a lot of girls with what you're doing.
In the field, you meet a lot of people, and you need to be accessible. And that's just about it, really.
It's not a problem for you.
For me, it's not my favorite aspect.
What is your long-term plan, Martine?
Well,
Steven says, that's in discussion with her. Yeah, right. He then says, well, how long have you known each other? To which Martine said, 3 years. And the mother said, and no commitment? Nothing yet? Martine can tell her parents are disappointed, and she doesn't even blame them because Steven couldn't even come up with better answers to impress them a bit more. She's now questioning if he even wants a future with her, or is she just another vacation girl that he just strings along? And when the trip is over, he's forgotten all about her. Well, I don't know if you're gonna get that proposal, girl. I really don't. That's everything to this couple and this recap. Meh, it was kind of dry. To be quite honest, I'm not really feeling this show, and from what I'm seeing, with the lack of comments and what I see on social media, others are not feeling it as well. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully, next episode will be a little bit more exciting. Thanks for watching, my beautiful peeps, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!